In the headlines tonight, the federal government is ready to resolve the conflict in the northern part of the country. British ambassador to Ethiopia hails the government's efforts to resolve conflict in the north. Good evening to you all. Very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku. Ethiopia and South Sudan today signed a memorandum of understanding to work together to prevent terrorism, armed groups and organized crime. Director General of the National Intelligence and Security Services, Tamasgen Turuneh, and Director General of the Internal Security Bureau of South Sudan, General Akor Cook, signed the agreement. The agreement is expected to level the ground for joint controls and taking action against terrorist groups, rebel forces and armed groups and organized criminals with a mission to disrupt peace and security in the border areas of Ethiopia and South Sudan and destabilize the East African region. In a later development, INSA also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Citizenship and Immigration Registration Directorate of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of South Sudan. Two Japanese universities have reached agreement to expand 13 technologies that have been proven to be effective on sustainable land management in Amhara regional state. The technologies were invented in a research conducted over the past 5 years with a budget of $3 million by Bahir Dar University in collaboration with the Japanese Totori and Shimane universities. Speaking on the occasion, head of the Regional Agriculture Bureau, Almaz Gzao, said the region's ecosystem is vulnerable to soil erosion. The research works conducted by the three universities have brought about a change in integrated soil and water treatment, land fertility, productivity, and benefit the society. President of Bahir Dar University, Dr. Freud Tageng, for his part, said the research works that Bahir Dar University has been conducting in collaboration with Japanese universities were unique. British ambassador to Ethiopia, Alistair MacPhail, hailed the government's commitment to find a peaceful remedy to the conflict in the northern part of the country. Talking to ETV, Ethiopia's peace talks and the national dialogue agenda should be inclusive and determined to usher the new spirit of solidarity among Ethiopians. Kasaun Chane reports.
The federal government has time and again expressed commitment to maintain peace talks with TPLF and rectify discrepancies in a more civilized manner rather than from the battle of a firearm. To this effect, aside from declaring a unilateral ceasefire and allowing free movement of humanitarian supplies to Tigray state, it has established a National Dialogue Commission to give peace another opportunity. Talking to ABC English, British ambassador to Ethiopia disclosed that peace talks are significantly critical for the nation's development initiative, adding his government supports it.
Our government's view is that there should be peace in Ethiopia. I have just described how we have enjoyed a productive relationship with all Ethiopians in your development path. Development is very difficult to achieve while there is conflict, and there are a number of conflicts in this country. Since the very beginning of the conflict in the north, from the 4th of November 2020, we have called on all parties to stop fighting, protect civilians, and to negotiate. We continue to urge all parties to negotiate. We are delighted to see that both the government and the TPLF have appointed peace committees, and we look to the mediation to convene talks as soon as possible. Although we are not part of the process, We stand ready to help in any way that the parties or the mediators would like.
The ambassador underlined that Ethiopia should embark on an all-inclusive national dialogue, adding the issues of the dialogue ought to be left to Ethiopians themselves.
Ethiopia's plan for national dialogue is an Ethiopian affair, and of course we wouldn't want to interfere in that. Although of course we would love to see a successful, inclusive national dialogue. That said, if there is a way we can support, we will. We speak to the commissioners, we speak to those who would take part in the dialogue, and we will remain closely engaged. And if there are requests for our support, we will look at those.
Ethiopia has lately put the National Dialogue Commission in place to build a shared understanding among citizens.
The main peace committee says there is an urgent need to conclude a ceasefire agreement as soon as possible. Established to advance the initiative of the government to peacefully resolve the conflict in the northern part of the country, the committee has extensively discussed the progress to date, the current situation in the northern part of the country, and other related issues. Tigris Narisa reports.
The committee recalled that the government has declared a unilateral humanitarian truce, has lifted the state of emergency, halted the advance of its troops to Mekelle, released detainees suspected of being affiliated with TPLF, and undertaken other confidence-building measures as well. It further recalled that on top of these measures, the government is endeavoring and making a serious effort to ensure enduring peace. In connection with this, it is to be recalled, it said that the government has expressed its readiness to engage in peace talks without preconditions at any venue and at any time. The committee, in its discussion, has emphasized the imperative of alleviating the suffering of citizens in the conflict-affected parts of the Tigray, Afar, and Amhara regional states. To expedite this process, the committee has deliberated upon and adopted a peace proposal that would lead to the conclusion of a ceasefire and lay the foundation for future political dialogue. The committee has noted that all necessary preparations are undertaken to facilitate an expedited resumption of basic services once a ceasefire is concluded. The committee has decided that the proposal should be communicated to the African Union High Representative as soon as possible. Furthermore, in accordance with the decision of the committee to provide the international community a briefing so that it would be possible to conclude a ceasefire agreement as soon as possible, with the help of the entities that could support the mediation effort of the African Union, such briefing has been provided. The committee also called upon the international community to stand with the African Union and play a constructive role towards the success of the peace effort.
Songs by legendary Jamaican artist Bob Marley, the genre's biggest star. Many Ethiopian artists joined the reggae music style of
pandemic. You have seen also the cruelty of the blockade, because it has impact in Cuba's ability to fight against the pandemic. No regulations were lifted of the blockade during the time of the
The Gurage are very serious when it comes to celebrating Mescal. Why now? Why this attention now?
I would beg to differ on that point. I believe that we have on all occasions where we have found
to celebrate actually the annual religious event Damera, which can be called as a bonfire.
The Ethiopian government disclosed that fertilizer has been distributed to farmers in Shire and Aksum towns of Tigray state. Support for farmers in other areas of the state to enable them cultivate their land during the rainy season will continue, it said. The support is also meant to create conducive environment for preventing farmland from growing dry and turning fallow. The government expressed commitment to scale up efforts to provide the necessary support to the people of Tigray in collaboration with international partners. Addis Ababa has reportedly scheduled to plant a staggering 4 million seedlings overnight on August 18, 2022. Reports from the mayor office indicate that the Green Legacy program will be held in the 11 sub-cities of Addis Ababa from 6 a.m. in the morning. The mayor office called for youth, students, enforcement agencies, religious leaders, artists, investors, volunteers, and all residents of the city to stamp their bright green legacy in the places prepared for planting in every district of the city.
ጊዜ ይለዋወጣል እኛ ግን ጸንተን እንቆማለን ሀገር ማለት እኛ ነን
You're watching Addis News Hour.
Stories that happened regarding Ethiopia over the past 24 hours.
Okay, there have been just a handful of stories, but for the time being, I've just chosen 2 of them, which are for.
Most trending issues that have been making headlines in the past couple of days.
Yeah, I have assessed the media and I have seen tweets of the Prime Minister.
The Ethiopian Investment Commission, in collaboration with the Ethiopian Embassy in India and Indian Economic Trade Organization, conducted a virtual conference aimed at attracting Indian companies that specialized in information technology enabling services. Ethiopian Ambassador to India, Tizita Mulugeta, highlighted support and reform by the government, adding that Ethiopia will do its level best to introduce additional enabling environments for investment. Deputy Commissioner of Investment Commission also reaffirmed the unwavering commitment by the government to encourage investors in the sector. Companies with varying levels of ICT sector operations from the ICT hubs of Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai and Kashmir have presented respective interests and product specializations.
Ethiopia is implementing a Green Legacy initiative over the past 3 years. The nation target is to plant over 20 billion young trees across the country. This project invites neighboring countries like Eritrea, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, and Kenya.
Ethiopia's microeconomy remains hopeful despite many challenges. ETV English will look into this in greater details through fresh stories and news analysis. Coming to you this August.
In August, top stories on Addis News Hour. After the conflict in the northern parts of Ethiopia, the PLF is preparing another wage of war against Ethiopia. ETV Language is discussing these matters with professionals, experts, politicians, even government officials. We brought this information on Addis News Hour. Stay tuned to ETV Language.
Finally, moving to Kenya, Kenyan opposition figure Raila Odinga said the presidential election results declared by the country's electoral chairman were null and void. The Independent Electoral Board announced William Ruto has won the 2022 Kenyan election last Monday. Let's take a look.
Kenyan opposition figure Raila Odinga said Tuesday the presidential election results declared by the country's electoral chairman were null and void. Speaking one day after Deputy President William Ruto was declared the winner, Odinga told a crowd in Nairobi that it was a travesty and a blatant disregard for the constitution and the laws of Kenya.
Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void. He acted with gross impunity and in total disregard of the Constitution and our laws. It is not up to us to decide whether Mr. Chebukati has committed an offense. We leave that determination to the appropriate authorities.
Odinga supporters in his stronghold of Kisumu welcomed the veteran politician's move to pursue all constitutional and legal options after rejecting the outcome of elections that awarded victory to his rival, William Ruto.
Everybody has been waiting to listen from him. Maybe if he could have said, you go to the street and you demonstrate. I'm welcoming the peaceful way he talked, and I'm really appreciating the polite words from our elected president.
4 of the 7 commissioners abruptly announced they couldn't support the results, and Odinga supporters scuffled with the remaining commissioners at the declaration venue. The battle now leads to the country's top court, the Supreme Court of Kenya.
Over now to a quick reminder of the headlines. The federal government is ready to resolve the conflict in the northern part of the country. British ambassador to Ethiopia hails the government's efforts to resolve conflict in the north. Well, you have been watching ETV News. Thanks for your company and have a great time.